Ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor to be sitting here today with another raids blog, or changes to the rewards, again. So, I'm sorry if I'm disappointing people, because they probably expected the next video I was going to post was going to be the banking thieving video. I'm still working on that. Right after I post this video, I'm actually going to be editing before I pop the stream tonight. But I felt that it's kind of necessary for me to put in my input for this. Because some of the changes they actually inputted in this blog are pretty big. So let's get right into it. I don't want to delay it any further. So they have completely revamped the wand. It's no longer one-handed. It's no longer a 2-tick, 2-tick, 2-tick into a 4-tick. It is now a 5-tick. Okay. So it's going to be called the Shadow of Tumikin now. One of the biggest comparisons we made during the polling process of Tombs of a Musket is that if you look at the previous two raids, they have that one standard item, which is true. It's the bow and scythe. We think that it's very important that Tombs of a Musket has rewards that are deemed desirable for the foreseeable future. After all, raids are some of our biggest pieces of PvM content, and they should have rewards that showcase that. So I'm kind of glad that they're putting more importance on that one item, because it's true. Those two raids, like ToA and Cox, both have those two big items that are well sought after. I think most of the time, the first big item people are probably going to buy is going to be T-Bow. Or sometimes if they manage to get into top early, it's going to be Scythe. You know, it kind of depends on their kind of PvM path. But, yeah, I'm kind of glad that they're putting a little bit more emphasis on the strength of the weapon. So, they kind of completely revamped it. So, it's now a two-handed weapon. It's no longer one-handed. I will admit that kind of sucks because they're adding in a new shield, and now you can't really use the new shield with a new weapon. So that kind of sucks. And if its new weapon is supposed to kind of make it where you don't need to use the Sang or the Harm, well, you're not going to be using that new shield with the Harm, but who knows? It just means that that shield's only going to be good for if you're using Sang, and even then, Sang is going to kind of be obsolete for speedrunning. I'm not sure. Well, We'll kind of have to see how it affects raids, but I can already give you some inputs on how this is going to affect shit, okay? So, 85 magic, right? To meet with the new changes they made to all the gear. T-Bow is now 85 ranged. Scythe is 80 strength, or no, 80 attack, 90 strength. And now this is 85 magic. So, it's similar to a powered staff like Sang, so you charge it with soul runes and chaos runes, so that shit's gonna spike. And the new formula is magic level divided by 3 plus 1. Shadow of Tumikin also comes with 2 passive effects, okay? So, I don't know if they clarified it too well in this part. So it says when the Shadow of Tumikin is equipped, magic strength from gear is tripled. Because this effect only affects the powered staff bit, not the spells. Okay? Same with the accuracy. But, magic strength from the gear is tripled. Capped at a total of 100 strength. So, I don't think we can reach that yet, but that's going to be for future gear. And magic accuracy from gear is tripled. So, that is absolutely insane. That it triples not only the bonuses in strength, but the accuracy. The accuracy part's fucking huge. Like, it's fucking huge. Like, let me give you an example, right? Let's say you're doing melee vanguard. Even if like you're in the best magic gear, you still have a decent chance of splashing like 5s. Yeah, that's just not gonna happen anymore. That's probably gonna be like an 80%, 90% chance of hitting. They also have a chart here showing the DPS like against different monsters. Okay. So on Zuck it's 7.12. ToA staff actually isn't that far away. 6.1. Demonic Gorillas 9.5 for Bullpipe and 8.8 for the staff. Again, not too far off. Arclight is 9.9 though, so it's best. And it goes on. This was a surprise that Mage is actually super good against Zilly, but I guess Zilly's kind of tanky. Same with Kree. Kind of reminds me of like, I think back then some people were using Storm of Armadillo and Polypore Staff in pre-EOC. So now Mage is a very, very strong option against Kree. Like look at that, 6.8 DPS. Even better than Chins. Serb, I mean, Scythe is still king. Abyssal Portal. I'm wondering if that counts for CMs as well. If that's going to be the best thing to use in CMs. Because if it's a huge difference in CMs, I could actually see people bring in Max Mage, but I'm not sure, because Overstock is kind of important. I guess we'll have to see. Malphite Queen flying, Bofa, Kira's Partisan, and the staff is now BIS. Twisted Bow, of course that's gonna be King of Hydra, and Krill, it's actually the best. So, yeah, this staff is nutty. It kind of, like I said, it kind of sucks that they're replacing it with the Heka, the wand. Because I thought the effects on the Heka were pretty interesting. And I was reading some of the things that some of my friends were saying, and they're like, bring back Heka, but I don't know, I'm kind of happy with this new staff, right? The fact that we finally have something that feels powerful. There's like so many times where you're like hitting something and you still have a high chance of splashing, even when it's a target but you're meant to mage, right? But now maging is a more viable option. I feel like it adds more balance to that part of the combat triangle in PBM. Because before it was like range and melee were top tier, and mage didn't really have much. Like, what? Your max fucking hit with mage is like, what? Well, aside from anything, like if you're doing Ice Demon, you have an increased max hit with fire spells. So, give or take, your max would be, I think, 47, 48 was saying off the top of my head. I mean, you get my point. Mage is kind of weak. It was kind of lacking. Now, Mage feels a lot stronger. And you also don't have to lock yourself to a certain spell book to get a certain effect, which was the main niche of the Heka. Right? This is still a niche weapon because it's not going to be BIS everywhere. Well, I wouldn't say niche because it's probably like BIS where you'd mage, but you get my point. So I would say it's not as niche as T-Bow and Scythe because those are more situational, where its power is strong. But yeah. So yeah, they're gonna pull it. If this ends up passing, they're going to replace the Heka with the Shadow of Timikin. And I think they said the Heka would probably come out tweaked in the future. Probably like pretty much how they said it with the Zarite bow, right? The original Zarite bow. So they were gonna look into bringing back in the future or something else, but who knows. Now they also changed the Osmond's Fang. This was interesting. I thought the Osmond's Fang was okay, but they didn't like the fact that all they did was to just slap a shitload of accuracy on it, called it a day. They felt that it was an artificial change. So instead what they did is they made it where they doubled the accuracy roll on it. So right now it says 105 stab, but they make this note right here. The biggest change to this weapon is the Fang's ability to double roll on accuracy, which makes it more accurate than the previous version of the Fang, and achieves its goal of being a highly accurate weapon more effectively. In order to balance this, we are reducing the melee accuracy to 105, previously 175, and reducing the melee strength to 103. So I'm kind of curious if this weapon might be useful in places where defensive targets are kind of high and you'd still use Scythe. Like, I'm wondering how good it would be against maybe the range Vanguard. Obviously, I'm pretty sure Scythe is still going to end up being the best weapon. But if you don't have Scythe and you end up getting this weapon, you could maybe bring it in. Like, you could bring it in still. So it might be like a nice middle ground weapon to bring to the Scythe. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure it's going to be more expensive than Scythe for a little bit. But I'm thinking this might end up being like when the prices kind of settle, give or take, like let's say 150 mil, 200 mil, based on the rarity we decide to choose. I'm thinking that's where it's going to be. But they also show this chart as well that shows the stat difference of the rapier in red. So no defense, it's still really good. Osmond's Fang, current DPS, and you can see it goes like that. And then this is a new one. So it really is much better against high defense targets compared to the rapier. So again, they do make the note that it isn't meant to be like best for all the NPCs. It's meant to be a niche weapon. But it'll still work Corp, so it'll probably be BIS there. So yeah. Now, the other thing that they mentioned, this was a surprise. I was not expecting this at all. They are adding something called the Thread of Illidanis. And what that does is you apply that on a rune pouch, you get an extra rune slot. Now, here's the thing I was thinking. Like, I was thinking, oh, this is really good because now you don't have to worry as much about like bringing as many runes with you. Maybe you don't have to empty out your Sang staff, right? However, with what I'm thinking the metas are going to be, unless you're bringing both the new staff and the Sang, you're gonna still have to use up the same amount of envy space because you can't take out blood runes out of a new staff because it doesn't have blood runes. So, in that aspect, you're probably going to be sitting in the same spot of, like, the amount of space you have. Unless you're bringing Sang. But even then, it just means, like, you're bringing Sang, you don't have to empty out blood runes anymore. That is, like, the main thing we do in CMs right now if you're running Brawl setups. But even then, I think it's still a good thing. It'll make spellbook swap setups a lot more accessible and not as annoying to use, I'd say. So, I'm completely down with that. I like the fact that they're making it untradeable, and I like the fact that you have to participate, do the raid to actually get it. But they're also making it common too, which is also good. I don't wanna go try, like, for example, the fucking tablet, the sleepy tablet, 1 in fucking 100 or some shit, and I'm almost 200 KC. Haven't seen it, but it's 1 in 100, right? It's 1 in 200. I still haven't gotten that shit though. That's all I know. So yeah, hopefully they make this like, give or take, like maybe 1 in 30, 1 in 20. Something not too rare. But yeah, I think that, I like this. I like this a lot. And then the next one is just something small. It's just the Breach of the Scarab. And if you guys remember, they did talk about adding jewels to the new, Karis, right? The new Karis. And all this is one that you can use outside the raid. And it works against Cal fights. So it'll probably make using that weapon against the KQ, it's going to be the BIS weapon instead of Scythe. Because I think right now, if you're hitting your specs, it's going to be Scythe. I know that some people, when you're getting boosted, they use Ink Mace in case specs miss. And Ink Mace damage, I don't think is too much different than Scythe on Crush. So Ink Mace is... probably won't need that anymore if you're using this new weapon. It's going to be super good against KQ, especially with an increased 33% against Cal fights. So... yeah, all it is doing is just improving and being able to kill Cal fights. So, I'm completely fine with this. And that's basically it. I know this video is kind of short, but let me give you kind of a rundown of my thoughts. I am happy with the changes they made to the new mage weapon, but I can kind of understand where some people are coming from when they want to keep the wand, or maybe even they want to keep the wand but make more changes to it so it's a little bit stronger. But I don't know. I feel like this kind of hits the nail in making a mage weapon that has that wow factor. Like, I looked at this, I'm like, no fucking way this is coming out. But yeah, I gotta keep reading up on other people's thoughts. I'm not sure if they can make any more changes to this. I'm kind of happy with where it is right now. But yeah, it's kind of interesting to see the differing opinions on it. We'll see if it ends up passing or not though. And not really much to say about the Fang. I mean, I guess I'm happy with the changes, but again, it was a weapon I was always just like okay with. I wasn't like crazy about it, but I was okay with it. I mentioned Corp, but I also forgot it's probably gonna be super good at Nex. And these changes, it's even better at Nex now, like slightly better. So I guess that's a good thing. I think that's a really good thing. I wonder if that also means if you're doing melee setup, you don't have to bring ZCB, because you can just inject fucking specs in your melee weapon instead. I don't know if you'd want to bring Light Bear, you'd probably just use Berserker or something. And then the Rune Pouch, that was a curveball that I didn't expect. Happy with this. Like, I don't really know what else to say, I'm just happy with extra space. Breach of the Scarab, I think I already knew something like this was going to come out. I just didn't know if it was going to be inside only the raid or outside of the raid. So, I guess I'm happy with that being outside the raid. But yeah, that's basically it. Short video. Again, I'm kind of sorry with the drought on YouTube. I've just been really busy with shit and streaming. So, I know that soon enough, I'll have a little bit more time. I'll probably be making a video on what that's supposed to mean. But, yeah, that's basically it. Until next time, guys, I will probably see you guys later, right?